Ever feel like you're just going through the motions? Like you need a little ancient wisdom to like shake things up. Well, today's deep dive is all about finding clarity and purpose, courtesy of Marcus Aurelius and his meditations.
And let's be clear, these aren't just some dusty scrolls gathering dust in a museum.
Right.
Imagine a Roman emperor in the thick of battlefields and political intrigue, jotting down these like deeply personal reflections.
Oh.
They weren't meant for anyone else's eyes.
Okay, that's a great point. We're talking about a guy who ruled the entire Roman Empire. It's like finding a secret journal of a president or a king, right?
Right.
It makes you want to lean in and listen closely.
Exactly. And what's remarkable is that amidst all the chaos, Aurelius found time to ponder the very same questions we grapple with today. What's our place in this vast universe?
Right.
How do we deal with anger, temptation, even the thought of our own mortality?
So even emperors had existential crises? That's actually kind of comforting.
Absolutely. It reminds us that these are universal human experiences, and Aurelius, through his writings, offers us a framework for navigating them with grace and resilience.
Okay, let's unpack this bit. We're diving specifically into Book 2, Sections 6 through 10 of Meditations. Don't worry, we'll guide you through the good stuff.
And the good stuff starts with understanding our place in the grand scheme of things. Section 6 really lays the foundation for Aurelius's philosophy.
Right, he talks about the importance of understanding the nature of the universe and our role within it. It's like he's saying, hey, before you can figure out your own life, zoom out for a second and look at the big picture.
Yes, and the key takeaway here is this. We're not isolated beings just bumping around randomly. We're actually interconnected parts of a vast and intricate cosmos.
Okay, I can see how that would have been a mind-blowing concept back then. But how does that actually apply to us today, like in our everyday lives?
Well, think of it this way. No matter how small or insignificant we might feel at times, each of us plays a role in the grand tapestry of existence. Our actions, however small, have a ripple effect.
That's actually a really empowering way to look at it. It's like, even just by being here, we're contributing to something larger than ourselves.
Exactly. And once we grasp this connection, we can start making choices that align with this natural order. For Aurelius, that's the key to finding harmony and meaning in life, even when things get tough.
I like that. So understanding our place helps us make choices that contribute to the greater good. It's like being a good cosmic citizen in a way.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that we're part of something larger and acting accordingly.
Right, cosmic citizenship. I can get behind that. Now, Aurelius doesn't shy away from the more, shall we say, human aspects of our nature.
Yeah.
In Section 7, he dives into a fascinating comparison between two common vices, anger and lust.
And here's where it gets really interesting. He argues that for someone striving to live a virtuous life, sins of lust are actually considered more detrimental than those of anger.
Wait, really? That seems a bit counterintuitive. I mean, we've all been on the receiving end of someone's anger, and it's not pretty.
I know, right? But to understand Aurelius's reasoning, we need to put on our Stoic thinking caps for a moment.
So walk me through this. Why would the Stoics see lust as this ultimate vice? It's not like it's hurting anyone, right?
Well, for them, it all boils down to this idea of reason. Remember, Stoics believed that living a virtuous life meant aligning yourself with reason with the natural order of things.
Okay, I'm following.
Now they saw anger, while destructive, as stemming from a sense of injustice. It's a disruption of reason, sure, but it's often a reaction to a perceived wrong.
So like when someone cuts you off in traffic and you see red, you're not exactly being rational, but you feel like there's a reason for the outburst.
Exactly. Lust, on the other hand, is about giving yourself over to pleasure, completely abandoning reason for immediate gratification. You're essentially becoming a slave to your desires.
Ah, okay. So it's about maintaining self-control. Anger might make you lose your cool temporarily, but lust for them meant losing control on a deeper level.
Precisely. For the Stoics, keeping your desires and passions in check was paramount to living a virtuous life.
It's making more sense now, but be honest, do you think this distinction between anger and lust is still relevant today? I mean, we're all about self-expression and all that now.
That's a great question, and it's something Aurelius probably couldn't have imagined back then, but think about it. Don't we still grapple with finding that balance between our impulses and our values? We might not frame it as sins, But the struggle to manage our desires, whether it's anger, lust, or even that urge to scroll endlessly on your phone, is still very real.
Right. It's less about labeling emotions as inherently good or bad, but rather about understanding how they can either help or hinder us from living a meaningful life.
Yeah.
Like that urge to scroll through social media, maybe it's harmless, maybe it's eating away at time I could be spending on something more fulfilling. It's all about perspective.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices that align with what you value most. And that brings us to a rather poignant section, wouldn't you say? Section 8 is where Aurelius really encourages us to confront our own mortality.
Oh yeah, here comes the big D word. He doesn't sugarcoat it either. He basically says we should live each day as if it were our last, which I'll admit sounds a little intense.
It definitely grabs your attention, but think about it. It's not meant to be morbid or depressing. It's about living with a sense of urgency and clarity. It's the classic memento mori concept, remember that you will die.
Okay, so how does remembering we're going to die help us live better?
Imagine this. If you knew your time was limited, wouldn't you be more selective about how you spend it? You'd probably focus on what truly matters, your relationships, your passions, and let go of the trivial stuff.
That's true. Like suddenly that fight with my partner over who unloaded the dishwasher last seems a lot less important.
Exactly. This awareness of our mortality can be incredibly freeing. It helps us prioritize what truly matters to live with intention and purpose.
It's like that old saying, don't sweat the small stuff. Except Aurelius takes it to a whole other level.
Right, and this awareness of life's preciousness leads beautifully into sections 9 and 10, where Aurelius expands on this idea of transience, the fleeting nature of all things.
And he paints a pretty vivid picture, too. I love that part in section 9 where he compares memories to sandcastles being washed away by the tide.
It's such a powerful image, right? He wants us to really feel how temporary and ever-changing the material world is.
So it's not just about accepting our own mortality, but recognizing that everything around us is in a constant state of flux. Relationships change, jobs come and go, even our favorite coffee shops close down eventually.
Exactly. And you know what? Aurelius believes that coming to terms with this impermanence is crucial for finding true peace. Because if we cling too tightly to things that are inherently fleeting, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment and suffering.
That makes a lot of sense. But if everything is temporary, where do we find lasting meaning? If it's not in material possessions or achievements, then what? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If everything fades away, what's the point of it all? Where do we find that solid ground?
That's where Aurelius offers us a truly profound insight. He says true meaning isn't found in the things we accumulate or the fleeting pleasures we chase. It's about who we become on the inside.
So it's not about what we have, but who we are.
Exactly. It's about cultivating our character, our inner strength. Aurelius believed in focusing on virtues like wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control.
Those are some pretty solid virtues. But why those in particular? Why not just, be a good person in general?
Because for Aurelius, these virtues weren't just about being good. They were about building a strong inner foundation. Think of it like this. No matter what storms life throws your way, loss, disappointment, even just those everyday frustrations, those virtues act like an anchor, keeping you grounded.
Okay, I can see how that would be helpful when life gets chaotic. But how do we actually cultivate these virtues? It's not like you can just download them, right?
You got it. It takes effort, practice, and daily reflection. It's about making conscious choices that align with those virtues, even when it's hard.
So if I'm understanding this right, Aurelius is saying that true happiness and fulfillment come from mastering ourselves, not the world around us.
Exactly. It's about focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our responses, and letting go of the rest. It's a lifelong journey, but the rewards are immense.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. Aurelius really challenges us to think differently about, everything. But I have to admit, this idea of accepting our mortality, of living each day as if it were our last, it's still a bit daunting.
It's a big one for sure. But remember, it's not about dwelling on death in a morbid way. It's about using that awareness to fuel a more meaningful life. It's about asking yourself, if I knew my time was limited, what would I do differently today? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind?
Those are powerful questions. It's like that old saying, live each day as if it were your last, and learn as if you'll live forever. But instead of just being a motivational poster, Aurelius gives us practical tools to actually do that.
Absolutely. And I think that's why his words continue to resonate with people centuries later. He speaks to something deeply human within us, that desire to live a life of purpose, to make our time here count.
It's about finding that balance, isn't it? embracing the present moment, but also recognizing the bigger picture, our place in the grand scheme of things.
Exactly. It's about living with both wisdom and wonder, knowing that even though our time here is finite, the impact of our actions can ripple out far beyond our years.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the mind of Marcus Aurelius, I'm left with this thought. What if we all lived a little bit more intentionally today? What if we took Aurelius's words to heart and focused on building that inner strength, that unwavering commitment to virtue? How would that change our lives? How would it change the world around us? Food for thought.
I love that. Those are the questions worth pondering.
Indeed. And on that note, we'll leave you to contemplate the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Remember, you have the power within you to live a life of purpose and meaning. Until next time, keep seeking those nuggets of wisdom, and thanks for joining us.
Wake up, get up, power in your stride. Own your thoughts, let them be your guide. Stars in the night, they shine just like you. Changes the game, a brand new view. So it's hard, won't be torn apart. Resilient mind, powerful start. Opinions fly, but the truth lies within. Break through the noise, let your journey begin. Anger's a fire, burns you down low. Kindness wins the fight. Watch your spirit grow. Breathe in the moment, find your inner light. Embrace the challenge, dance into the night. So it's hard, won't be torn apart. Resilient mind, powerful start. Opinions fly, but the truth lies within. Break through the noise, let your journey begin. So it's hard, won't be torn apart. Resilient mind, powerful start. Opinions fly, but the truth lies within. Break through the noise, let your journey begin. Live each day like it's your very last. Don't get caught up in the shadows of the past. Faith throws a curveball, but you rise above. Love the hand you dealt, that's where you find your love. So it's hard, won't be torn apart. Resilient mind, powerful start. Opinions fly, but the truth lies within. Break through the noise, let your journey begin. Don't waste time, live your truth today. Let shape your world in every single way. Stoic power, stoic power, rise and ignite. Stoic heart, won't be torn apart. Resilient mind, powerful start. Opinions fly, but the truth lies within. Break through the noise, let your journey begin.
To really be a success. But what Dr. James realized about his philosophy of success was that the first part is indeed more important than the second. Going for it. As long as you're working toward your inner goal, your dream, then success is possible. But once you give up your inner vision, then you can never become successful. You never will become successful. Until doesn't even matter. Now, maybe the person who's been working on a project for 10 years can be successful in his own right, if he's honestly working toward it, doing everything to make himself worthy of reaching the dream, really happy with where he is, doing it until. Then maybe he is a success. It's a personal thing, going for it one step at a time, going for small accomplishments along the way for however long it takes. So let's think about this for a moment. What outside evidence or results or proof can be seen when you accomplish your goals one step at a time? You'll start to see things change around you, little things, not major things, but little everyday things, things you may not even notice unless you are paying attention. If you're one of those who'd rather stay up late and get up late, only to discover that your workplace doesn't fit your schedule, and you roll out of bed cursing the alarm clock every morning, maybe you could start with the little change of going to bed half an hour earlier than normal. And maybe you'll see, in time of course, you can't train your body overnight, maybe you'll find out that you jump out of bed in a better mood, and that your day will start better, and that you'll get more done.
To be truly happy, you have to be willing to let go of what makes you unhappy. Don't work after 50 because money won't let you know yourself. Spend time wisely, then you will be extended.
The energy of the mind is the essence of life. Aristotle.
Do not moan, do not complain. Learn to be thick-skinned. Your friends' problems become your problems. The smaller your social circle, the fewer problems you have.
You see, in life, lots of people know what to do, but few people actually do what they know. Knowing is not enough. You must take action. Tony Robbins.
For several dispositions or inclinations there be of the mind and understanding, which to be aware of, thou must carefully observe. And whensoever thou doest discover them, thou must rectify them, saying to thyself concerning every one of them, this imagination is not necessary, this is uncharitable, this thou shalt speak as another man's slave, or instrument, than which nothing can be more senseless and absurd. For the fourth, thou shalt sharply check and upbraid thyself, for that thou doest suffer that more divine part in thee, to become subject and obnoxious to that more ignoble part of thy body, and the gross lusts and concupiscences thereof.
Everything in my life, so I had to learn this ability that I talked about. My physical gave me the self-discipline, and that literally has carried me over to I can sit down and study what may take some people an hour to study. I have to sit down for maybe 10 hours to learn the same. And that's very frustrating. So I always think about running and swimming and all the stuff I did in the military and pull-up records and powerlifting, all these physical feats. Some of the hardest I do in my life is just learning. But I got that self-discipline from waking up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning to go out in the cold weather, to get my run in, to get my lift in, to get my swim in, to do those things. It totally transfers over to my learning. It's that self-discipline you gain from feeling good about yourself by overcoming yourself on the physical aspect of life.
But I was like, because I kind of was preparing myself for the next part of my journey. I don't like to lay in my too long. And I give myself a couple of minutes to, okay, we got man to fuck up. We got to get back. Like, what's next? Let's go see, let's go back to college. Let's do something, because you're running and your athletic career's done. and this was like literally a trained skill for me, was I'm always preparing for like not being a bitch. Like a lot of people get to a point, like for instance, like if Jennifer can't do something, like if she can't go for a run or whatever, just like because something's wrong, like some simple shit, it's gonna bother her. I got to a point in my life where I realized this is life, and so I move on past things real quick. So people are like, oh my God, what are you gonna do, David, if you can't run? I'll swim, or I'll go to college, or I'll do something else. This this isn't my life.
Nothing is permanent in this wicked world, not even our troubles. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. A happy life consists in tranquility of mind. Cicero. You have to let go of what's behind you to reach what's in front of you. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future.
The present moment is the only reality. The past and future are illusions. Muji.
If it were thine act, and in thine own power, wouldest thou do it? If it were not, whom does tin accuse, the atoms or the gods? For to do either the part of a mad man, thou must therefore blame nobody. But if it be in thy power, redress what is amiss. If it be not, to what end is it to complain? For nothing should be done but to some certain end.
Our lives will take on a whole new meaning. They take on a whole new expression, valuing each moment that we are blessed with. The next thing that begins to nurture that hunger, honor yourself as your word. Don't give your word out lightly. When you throw your word out there and you don't honor it, it makes a statement about you. If you decide to maintain a sense of integrity with yourself, that if I speak it, I'm going to live it. It's who I am. And I'm going to be very cautious in how I give my word to others, and most of all with the commitments that I make to myself, because I want my life to reflect my words and honoring who I am and what I express. Another challenging area in terms of nurturing and developing that hunger in yourself is learning the art of becoming single-minded, learning how to concentrate, learning how to focus in. And you'll be surprised at the things that you're able to do when you learn how to block things out, when you learn how to keep thine eyes single. You'll be surprised at the ideas that will come to you, of the people that you'll be able to attract, of the opportunities that you'll be able to see. You'll begin to see things that have been standing there looking you in the face saying, I can't believe this has been here all this time. Here's a habit that I do. Maybe it might be of some value to you. I get up in the morning and I start writing what great ideas that I can think of today that can improve me and that will enable me to reach my goal.
The world is what it is. You are what you are. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own.
In the end, it's not the years in your